to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody. All right, first thing on the agenda is a consent agenda. It's a normal business that we do every month. Any questions on A through F? If not, somebody make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
1 second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Motion carried. Community comment. Anybody with community comment? If you do, please state your name, address, where you live. Nobody? Okay, next thing is Kelvin. Kelvin Bartz, is Bart Storage extending the street 150 feet.
Kelvin from Bart Storage, and units over here that are basically 40 by 120 foot, and in the spring I'm gonna apply for a permit to build one more behind my existing one there. And you guys got the city street that's right beside me, and I was just wondering if you guys would consider extending that city street on another 150 feet, so that would pick up the second. That's not something that would have to be done right away or even this year, but just if it's.
Yeah, I would think, since you've invested a lot putting those buildings there, it's only good business for us to send that, so it can serve them back buildings better. So. Should be no problem, but there should be anybody?
Should be just fine. Will we have to get that engineered or contracted or how, I don't know how to do it.
When the last time it was done, the Peterson boys, they just made a road bed, I believe, and put it there.
Engineered as such, you just put
Yeah.
it underneath there and.
Yeah.
And rock on top of it.
Yeah.
We're not running anything like a heavy lumber. You ever completely redid the road, they'll probably make you rip it completely out.
Well, if we ever redid it, basically we'd have to put some water and sewer down it,
Yes.
So.
You don't
Yeah.
have any water in them buildings.
There's no water to put sewer inside of none of that. No. They really need it for maintenance and everything, so.
I think when we redid the county road, we extended that, we got that hydrant to go farther to the west, so it's right in line to make a jog and go south.
Go down.
Yeah, so that's kind of little foresight that we had there, so there should be no problem, When do you think you'd be starting that building, Kelly?
I'm gonna try to start the cement work as soon as weather permits.
Oh, okay.
Spring or whatever, but I know how everything works. It doesn't always all come together like it's supposed to. So.
All right. Yeah, we'll do our best then to get you the extended street down there.
If you just consider it, that's all I ask. Just look into it. So
All righty.
thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. High Performance Garage.
Hey, so plan on doing a Day of Thunder car show again. Open for August 1st. Basically, it's gonna be the same game plan as last year. The only difference is we're hoping they're like carnival rides, and we need NDOT signage. Is gonna be the biggest problem we had last year is people having a hard time getting to the event. So if it does pass, then we can get on the same park, be using the same spaces as last year. We would really appreciate some sort of a road closure signs or anything that we could potentially direct traffic that way a little bit better. Also, we've been approached by lots of people that have asked for, to do a parade, to do anything else in town. And we would love to help everybody with that, but we are only 2 people and we can only assemble so much of a team. So if we were to do August 1st, maybe we could put out some sort of memo where anything else that other people want to do, be able to work their plans onto August 1st as well.
Yeah, parade, citywide garage sale.
Yeah.
Anyone wants to do.
And then another thing, a few people have talked about removing that ball fence that's down in that park. And if that were to ever come out, me and my brother, and I could probably get a few other people to help with that and free waiver down there for that.
Yeah, the warning fence there is getting pushed out of the ground by the frost all the time, so it's getting in disarray, and I mean, we've talked about it, but never acted on what we want to do down there because there's been no ball games down there for a couple of years, so I guess did we even have a meeting about it and nobody showed up about ideas, or was that one of our ideas to have a meeting to
I think
see
it
what
was
the,
an idea to have a meeting, but I don't. think we did.
Building, having a fence around it is that you got the gate where you let the cars in last year. It's nice to have a fence because if you ever do an event with a wristband or something like that, a paid event or anything, you got them contained now and people can't come in from all directions. That's the best part about having a fence down there.
That is true, but it's not enclosed all the way.
It's not a full fence.
There's still large areas that don't have doors on them,
Right, but
but I do
Just
understand.
saying. maybe you won't be the only event ever down there. There might be other events where maybe they have a band or something and they want to serve alcohol, they want to contain it.
well, like we done years ago, we'd put up snow fence, orange fence, and posts. That could be done for an event like that for a day or whatever. So I guess best thing we could do as a council is have a public meeting on, see what the thoughts are of people, what they want to see down there. We talked about pickleball court, tennis court, right?
Mhm.
And was a basketball court. We have a section of blacktop, but that's too wet there. So I mean, something's got to happen because we have a very nice warming house, but your event there last year utilized that more in one day than it's been utilized in
3 years.
2 to 3, 4, 5 years, so you two guys were very, very successful in your car show last year, and thank you again. So if you're looking for that this year, that's fine. Like you said, citywide,
August 1st, is that close to when National Night Out is?
uh,
That's the first, was it Monday or Tuesday of,
It's a Tuesday.
it's the first.
that'd be the fourth,
Yeah,
fourth.
we could potentially do it that day as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be on that first Tuesday. I mean, that's also something that we could do.
I was just thinking it's close enough, the date's close enough.
Right. We could have a Good Thunder Day or yeah, the city could sponsor some of that stuff too.
And if you guys could roust up some of these younger people to get a parade, it'd be very, very nice, because I always think small towns and small parades is very, very important. I mean, Vernon Center, hey, they missed out on theirs last year, right? Just 1 year, was it 2 now?
Been two.
Yeah, because of the construction, but are they gonna be back this year, Kelvin? Yeah.
Works out on that also.
I think they're lacking volunteers too.
Yeah, see, it's the same people that done it for 30 years, and then people are kind of like tired, but,
I do like the idea of a parade though. And I don't know, do we have any street signs like event? But I'm assuming we could rent them somewhere.
Yeah, we could, luckily we got enough time this year, we can look into all that, yeah.
well, we can just get some made, ballpark, with an arrow and,
Yeah, that sharp line,
yeah,
he does good work for cheap, or we can, we got time, so.
And then on that same note, anything that the city does decide they want to do for that day, that we can help with the advertising for that. So long as we know it ahead of time. And we were on TV last year, we put out some 300-400 posters, so we could really get the word out for anything that was decided.
When did you start that last year? Any idea? Probably June-ish?
I think we began advertising. The flyers came out mid-June, I believe. We were on TV the week before. That was kind of strategic. Everything else, I think we officially started advertising for it in May, and we did a lot of online programs as well.
You might or might not know, but do you think that the people there it was like a majority of Good Thunder people, or do you think people traveled there to see it?
Mostly traveled in,
Mostly traveled in?
so it would be a lot of outside town traffic.
All right.
that was kind of done around 5 o'clock-ish, right?
Yeah, it was.
If you ever coordinate and get enough help where, you could advertise it, a parade after 5, that's when we think we had the parade years ago, was around 5 o'clock-ish, right? And you'd have all them cars, that could make a loop around through there too. That would be very, very nice, So I don't know where you're gonna find help, but
And then another point, just as a reminder, we did have a hayride last year, the tractor going through routes in town. Just wanted, as a reminder, if that's okay, same program.
absolutely. Everybody else agreement?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Any other things you can create to attract people for your event? We're more than willing to be behind you. So, thank you guys very much.
Try to make sure that the roads don't get oiled a couple days before.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a wrong time to seal coat last year.
People don't care, but there's some nice call.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. All right. Is that it, guys? All right, thank you. Quick Tree Park update, Kelton?
Okay, some of you guys have been keeping track of what we've been doing down at the archery, thank Eli with his help. Just want to give you guys a quick overview on the archery park and the FEMA grant that we applied for last year. With the help of Sue and a few other people, we applied for a FEMA grant to flood damage down there at the archery parks. And as it turned out, we actually a little bit of a struggle going through the process, doing well for the FEMA grant itself, educate the process. But after all the dust settled, we were accepted and we received a grant. And the grant was right around about $7,000, $6,936.02. And that was for the replacement of 3 48-inch archery targets and 2 36-inch by 36-inch archery targets. All of the materials it took to build the stands, all the time it took to build the stands, all the time that it took to retrieve materials. And including, it was also included in that was time spent communicating with FEMA. I know Sue spent quite a bit of time talking to FEMA. I spent but basically it all boiled down to, if you look at one of the pages, you see a breakdown of how much money was spent on material costs. On the very last page, gives you a breakdown of what we spent. I think we spent all but a few $100, $300 for that FEMA grant. But I think we spent everything else. And the only thing that we actually took out of the funds were basically the earth that we used to build all of the rings. About target cost. Yeah, and the target costs, obviously. And thanks to the city with the acquisition of that Conex container down there, we're able to take the tractor and load it, and Eli lifted them up and moved them right in there. Slid right in, stored everything inside that container, so we want to wash it out next time we do a flood down there, so, yeah.
Nice.
Well, the question I had for any of you guys is, does the council have any questions in reference to how and what we did with the archery park in 2025? Since the comments have been up, that the city also, Eli's been getting the footage of the people utilizing it, so he can tell you for sure how many people have been down there, but I think it's a regular somewhat basis.
Yeah, obviously, in the fall, it picked up with deer hunting and stuff and people sighting in for that. But I was actually a little surprised, in the fall, it was almost every day for a few weeks there that somebody'd be down there, so.
So it continues to get used on a regular basis, so that's kind of what we were hoping for when we came up with this whole idea of putting an archery park.
We get more and more new people every year.
Yeah.
We ran into a couple more this year. They just came down for the first time, but they just heard about it. I didn't even know it was available, so somebody else told them about it, so. I don't know if there's something we want to look into for advertising that maybe a little better. We used to have signs on 1 or 10. It said archery park, and now they're no longer up there. Did they have to come down for a reason, or?
It was on county property, so,
Was on a county sign?
yeah, so I don't know if the county removed it or what.
I don't know, I don't think anybody from the city ever took them down.
I remember,
I'm just curious what happened if somebody, you know, maybe they had to come down, but I thought maybe somebody gave you a reason or whatever, why they had to come down. If there isn't a reason, can we look into getting that sign back up, or possibility of signs?
I would sure think so, you know, you could have ones there on the road driving into, and then another one along the trees pointing that way, you know, and,
Have one like
Coming from the east.
just west of the bridge,
yeah,
you know, bridge rail there, then have one probably just where that curve starts going towards the east.
yeah, you could check with, Bushman at the county, right?
Yeah.
You see what he says?
Yep.
Yeah,
Appreciate that, thank you.
signage would be good. And thank you guys for all the work on that.
There's gonna be some more upcoming expenditures that we'll wind up using. We're gonna add more signage down there.
We really have to add something more verbose.
Rules and regulations,
Rules and regulations.
basically.
It's kind of very plain right now, and a lot of people are not reading things into that or reading things into that. They're kind of trying to figure out how to get around some of that stuff, and I think we just need to get it spelled out a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Marked.
And then back to the FEMA grant, Sue and I were able to close out that grant. We submitted the closure aspect of it, and they accepted it, so we're all done with FEMA. FEMA's happy with what we did.
We got the last of that money last week, $174. That's all done.
no, the things you made there, both you guys make those to hold the target?
He gets notes, but maybe
Yeah,
you got photos. It is 10 bucks apart.
so they look very nice to get them up off the ground, you know, and,
And they're heavy, so the wind won't blow them over.
Yeah, so very easy to move if you want to just push them with the mower or whatever.
how many times can that be shot at before you, it's too many holes?
Find out.
Yeah, this is the first time using these targets, we don't know, but I know that the, I want to say abuse, but it's not abuse, but the usage they've got over this course of time that we've had them up, they hold up very well.
Yeah, okay,
I contacted two different manufacturers, Lancaster Archery out of Pennsylvania and Bulldog Archery out of Manitoba, Canada. And the big ones that we purchased, three big ones and two small ones are all from Canada. And these are full series. So they're designed for sensitive shots. That we put on average. And we have one more target yet that I have to build a frame for, but that one came from that Lancaster Archery, and it's got a different design, so the framework that I designed or built for these will not work on this other one, so come spring, I'll come up with a battle plan on how to make a stand for that one, so actually from a stand, hold up or the wear aspect. The homemade ones we made almost every year, we had to reskin them, put new skins on them because they just got shot through so fast. These have been out there for a whole year now, and I mean, unless you get right up to it, you can't see the wear.
oh, really? Oh,
There's quite a few more of them. But they seem to be not, coming up with like the other one.
I believe that they'll hold up pretty well, and just don't know the exact extent of how long.
We'll see. And the good thing is they're double sided, so right now they're only shooting at one side, so even if one side does get shot out where it's not usable. You spin the target around.
Yeah.
And you can use a brand new renewed, but these 48 and the 36s, instead of allowing the archers to shoot at one concentrated, usually is the center of the target. We went through and made lines on the targets. So they have different.
Different window panes to do that instead of shooting at the same one all the time.
oh, okay,
So that should extend the wear aspect of those.
all right. Well, thanks, guys. You've done a great job. And you and Sue got that money from FEMA and took care of a lot of business.
Eli was a big help with the moving stuff around, this big stuff up too. so
Yeah, and Eli.
thank you for that.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else with questions? If not, nope, move on. All right. Next up is Bolikin Engineering.
Right. So we have handouts for you guys too, but we also have we have it on these larger drawings. Is there a good spot for us right there or
Yeah.
here or
Right there's fine.
right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. All right, thanks for having us back. So since for sure September, we've been working on something for the city of Good Thunder called the Needs Assessment and Funding Analysis. It's basically just a review of your infrastructure, your sanitary sewer, water mains, storm sewer, streets, sewer ponds, tower, treatment plant, wells, past projects, and so on and so forth. We've met with city staff a couple times in there too, Brian, Eli, and Sue. We had a meeting right before Christmas with Sue about some funding stuff and how some of that works. And so we're here to just basically kind of talk about the results of all that, about what we do and what we put together and some next steps. My name is Mark Klima. This is our company president and company founder, Brian Bawley, who started the company 2007.
Yep.
And then this is Angela Olson. She's one of our funding specialists. We have a bunch of different funding specialist staff at our company, but we like to have one contact person for your community so that it's just nice not to, rather than have 6-8 people to talk to, I'm here for engineering, Angela for funding. And of course, Brian will talk to anybody, but that's okay.
Is funding gonna get tough in the state of Minnesota?
Well, it depends. With call it recent current events.
Yes.
Okay. I've heard some news headlines about the federal government's going to pause flows of federal funds to the state of Minnesota. It really depends on which funding source you're talking about. And this is where I have to defer to one of you folks about that. So we maybe get to that later, touch on it now.
Let's get to that a little bit.
Touch on it maybe toward the end. So.
But if we ain't getting money, we can't do nothing. So we should have the funding up front.
Yep. Okay, so you know what? Here we go. I just about did it. I caught myself. This is the same thing. Or maybe if you want to go that way. If you want to go that way. And if you want to take notes, write down questions for yourselves later. All that good stuff. So if you look, you're like same thing as here, Great. So this table has some criteria. Some of this criteria, call it demographic criteria, can trigger as an indication of what funding streams are available for infrastructure replacement, your population, your median household income, your low to moderate income. Those are statistics that are a part of the census that's done every so many years. And depending on where you fall in different ranges, you're eligible for different grant loan programs for water and sewer and so on and so forth. So then these bottom 5 lines have to do with what you're eligible and not eligible for. Federal funding through USDA rural development. Technically, yes, you'd be eligible. State funding through PFA, are you eligible? Yes. And we'll talk a lot about that toward the end. Does the city qualify for small cities development? No, and that has to do with your percentage of low to moderate income. This has to be above 51% in order for a city to qualify for that.
So in turn, we gotta get our income down or up.
Down.
Yep, down. Yep. Sometimes if you're really close to that threshold, but not quite over it, you can do what's called an income survey. And that's where you kind of do your own little mini census within the town and request that people, it's like a census redo about income. And then if your percentage goes above, then you're eligible and blah, blah, blah. But we typically only see that being successful if you're at like 49.5% or 50%. It's really hard to move it from there up and over.
That data's for the 560 people?
Say again.
That data's for the 560 people?
Correct. Yes. Is there something I don't know about?
No, I was just wondering if that was city population or rural.
Yeah, it's just in the city limits proper.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we did something like that on income when we redone the lagoons.
Yeah, we did it a few years ago with
We
Bolton, I
did
think.
it a couple years ago too with Bolton and Mink. And
Did
we
it?
didn't,
Didn't quite get there.
I
It's
got,
somewhere.
yeah, I've got the information, but yeah, we didn't make it.
Okay. Yeah. Eligible for local roadway improvement program. Everyone calls it LRIP. Yes, you're eligible. That typically is for local roads, local routes, that is to say, non-state, non-county routes that have somewhat of a regional, somewhat of a regional impact, or it's a short stretch of city road that connects this county road to that county road, and there's an elevator and a whatever, where it just gets pounded with traffic, and it kind of has like a, it's got more going on to it than just your average everyday city street. It's got some commercial component. It's got a trucking component. It's become a cut through because it's a shortcut or something like that. So. Okay. So from here on out, the presentation's kind of organized by utilities. So first we'll talk about drinking water and water mains and the water treatment plant wells. And then it's a sanitary sewer, and then storm sewer, and then funding programs. So I guess that's kind of where we started. And if there's corrections, if you see something that needs to be added to or corrected, I'll just write it up here so that I can change it when I go back to the office. So if you see something, holler. Okay, water treatment plant and wells. I think, obviously there's been a lot of discussion and review about the water treatment plant, and you've been working toward developing this project and replacement for quite a while. What I'm trying to say is, I know some of this is a recap for some of you, but here we go. Well one was drilled in the 1920s or 30s. It's located inside the little well house building on the north side of the plant. Reconstructed or redeveloped in 1997. The capacity is only 70 gallons per minute. I'm not sure that's what I read in an funding application, but
Yeah.
maybe it's a bit higher at times.
It's a little higher than that.
Yeah. So this is not adequate for like a heavy usage day. Then that's kind of a guideline by the Minnesota Department of Health.
It's a backup more than anything.
Yeah, it's a backup.
Yeah.
They would like you to have two water sources where if one is down for maintenance or whatever, the other one, or the other ones in and of themselves can supply the gallons per minute needed to run the town. So, and one of the ways they define that is that it can keep up GPM wise, and then it doesn't run more than 16 hours on more of a max state demand. Well number 2, drilled in 1987, just north of the tower there, the big green pipe coming out of the ground. Again, from the information I grabbed, 350 gallons per minute. Maybe it's probably capable of more. I don't know what you say, but it's got what you need, right?
350 is a good number. It actually runs closer to 400, but
Yeah. Sounds good. A lot of life left in that. Water quality is kind of what you'd expect for the geography here. Third bullet point, the big obvious one, the water treatment plant constructed in the 1920s or 30s. Very advanced age, equipment is failing, filter interior is corroding. That is to say, the big steel box on the inside. The tray aerators are deteriorating. I don't have pictures of that here. Treatment chemicals are stored in the main room, which can accelerate corrosion. These days, MDH wants all that in a separate room, with separate ventilation and a door to the outside, and they're kind of going that direction. And you can see that going in the building, walking around. And I know that there's some pipe replacement done or gonna be done soon.
We're talking about it.
You're talking about it
Tonight, yeah.
later on tonight.
Yep.
I'm not sure if this is like the exact picture location, but it's something that looks kind of like that. So
That's part of it.
there you go. Okay.
Yep.
Probably most of you could be standing up here talking about this just as good as I could. Electrical and controls outdated, corroded, roof of the building's beginning to fail. And so a new water treatment plant, one new well, the raw water main to bring the current well over to the proposed lot over there. These items through your past engineer were their cost estimated that project development and put on the drinking water revolving funds PPL list. They went on the intended use plan this last summer, and I don't know, Brian, I think I'd like you to jump in here, but this list, this IUP was just finalized today, actually.
Yeah, so it's just published today. Good Thunder's on that list for your water treatment plant, the well and the raw water main. So we're gonna talk through that a little bit more after we get through the rest of the infrastructure. So that's a plus.
Anything else anybody wants to bring up about water?
It served its time. The building itself the roof is in a little disarray, but you know, the four walls are in pretty decent shape yet, but
Sure.
our equipment inside is very aged.
Sure.
You know, and like you say, you gotta have chemicals and no access to the inside. So you'd have to do a lot of reworking to make this one feasible. 2026, you might as well maybe start over.
I wouldn't say never retrofit a building, but there are advantages to. Yeah, yep, I agree. One way I like to say it is you've captured all the value of that infrastructure. You haven't left any, you haven't wasted any. Water tower, 55,000 gallon capacity, constructed in 1911. There's a little plaque. If anyone's curious, you can look at, I don't remember which of the four legs it's on, but it's there.
Yep.
Recoated recently, which is great. Public Works staff feels the tank is in good condition relative to its age, with no major deficiencies. Average daily use. A rule of thumb is that for how big should your water tower be? A rule of thumb is your water storage gallons should be at least what your average daily use would be. So that would be all the water that you pumped in a year divided by 365 days. So that's how kind of that gets defined. It sounds like there was a time in the past when the town was kind of bumping up against that limit, but with the new ultrasonic water meters and finding some leaks and so on and so forth, that's actually, those peak days are kind of subsiding a little bit. And
What are we at now, Brian? 42?
Right around 38,000 gallons per day. I got all that.
for your average, that's kind of your,
Mhm.
yeah, so great. Yeah, talked about that. Improvements or modifications to the tower or the city's drinking water storage are not currently proposed. Sound right to everybody? When I can see infrastructure built in 115 years ago and built well and still working, that just warms my heart. So it's awesome.
How many towns in the state of Minnesota you think would have a water tower that age?
I don't run into them that old too often that aren't coming down anytime soon.
Yeah, they're usually coming down around 100 years, generally, so it's neat that you got it. It's likely gonna be historic because of the age, which is a challenge for some communities that wanna take it down because you gotta go through SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office, and go through a lot of work, and sometimes they might not allow you to take it down. So it gets to be a little bit back and forth. It's great that yours is working and it's satisfying your needs. So until something changes, that you guys are doing the right thing.
Put us on the mail.
Vernon, you had one like that going, didn't you? And you replaced yours, what, 10, 12 years ago already, I bet now, huh? Yeah.
We bought a used one that was not big enough for another town or whatever, and so we got it quite a discount onto it.
Mhm. But yeah, we've taken pretty good care of our water tower over the years, you know.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes the roofs go and then there's trouble with the rivets and.
Well, that bladder inside, you know, we've had that redone
Okay.
a couple of times over the last 30 years, I believe.
60,000 on it 2 summers ago, so.
One thing that tower does desperately need is a way to isolate it. There's no way to isolate the tower and do maintenance on it right now. We have to run a hydrant with a pressure regulator. Whenever we do maintenance on the tower, we don't have a way to, there's no shut off to isolate that tower.
Are you talking valving with the pipe, the water main pipes surrounding it? Okay.
It's always something we've talked about that. we needed.
So a little bit of piping and some valving.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're flipped to this page, now it's existing drinking water distribution, which is a fancy way of saying pipes, water main pipes. About the colors, this darker blue, those are newer, say last 25 years, good hard PVC that's been installed. The lighter blue is what I'm calling 1960s cast iron pipe. And then the red are areas that have been identified by city staff or members of the council as potentially needing to be replaced sooner than some of the other lighter blue stuff. There's been some water main breaks in this area with those kind of old school Batman symbols. I know down in the southwest part of town, that's 4-inch from the early 70s. And when I say 1960s cast iron, that's kind of, that's a good approximation, talking with city staff and looking at the years that are stamped on the backside of those hydrants. A 6-inch dead end, Halliday Street, south of Willard. Been complaints about low pressure, low flow in that area. So the yellow and pink areas are water main replacements or installations that you've identified as wanting in the past from your past project development. All of that is slated to be 8-inch diameter. So there's no nothing 6-inch or 4-inch or any of that. Project areas 1 and 2 are on the finalized intended use plan for PFA funding. A lot of colors here in the legend, but project area 1 is up here. Project area 2 is the pink. The remaining 1960s cast iron pipe, talking with Eli and Brian, I said, you know, we understand that the pipe shown in red and the pink are the priorities right now. What is the feeling on just the light blue pipe? It's 1960s, so a lot of people would say that's at the end of its expected useful life, but you're not seeing 6, 8 water main breaks a year. And right, sorry, I went and said it. No. So, and I think you guys can all speak up or whatever, but what seemed to come out was the first thought was to maybe let the replacement of those pipes be driven a little bit more by if the street pavement blows up with frost boils, or if there's a bunch of breaks in this 2, 3, 4 block section, or the sanitary sewer is, I'll just pick a spot. The sanitary sewer in this part is falling apart. If we're gonna dig that up, we might as well replace the old cast too, kind of a deal. That was kind of the thought on that, which makes I think that's a legit way to go about it. But I asked the question because sometimes when we're talking to towns at a meeting at this point in the process, they'll say, oh my gosh, we need to make a plan to replace all of it. I don't know if that's gonna be 5 years from now or 15 years from now, but we need to, so.
So the fact that the pipe's not moving, so the breaks happen when the pipes start to move. Cast iron, is rigid.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like to move. If you go down to Amboy, for instance, they've had a lot of breaks. They are having 5 to 8 breaks a year down there, and they have similar age cast iron pipes. So they're in the process of looking at how do they improve those. Yours aren't breaking right now. They've hit their useful life, but they're not breaking. And so that gives you an opportunity to just let them exist, right? But if at the same time, if you start to notice some breakage in some areas like this is where you just want to get them replaced.
Up here on the very top on Milky Street, you talk about looping. What would happen if you ever ran that one over to the red one so you could loop that?
Yeah,
We talking over here.
Yep, well, all 3 of them, really.
Yeah, I think we were chatting about that. Seeing if we could squeeze along a lot line.
Yep.
And then get up and over,
Yep,
or even continue.
and come down there because that's all gravel streets.
Yeah,
It's not like tearing up a new street, which we worked at trying to preserve, and then go in and dig it up.
but the cost of replacing a paved street is,
Yep.
it's like, it's like.
Kelvin, he's from Vernon Center and he is the former mayor over there. And did you do all the water and sewer in every street, Kelvin, in the last 2 years?
Yep.
And all new streets?
Yep.
And all new curb and gutter?
Yep.
And can you afford to live there?
Quite expensive.
Yeah.
You guys went through the USDA rural development process, right?
Yes, we do.
So the challenge with any infrastructure is these pipes are 80-year pipes. Rural development, the program you went with has a 40-year loan. So you're having all the community members pay for 100% of the utilities, of which it's on a 40-year loan versus an 80-year loan for the life of the facility. So that's why it gets expensive.
Yeah.
But there's strategic reasons to do what Vernon Center did. But every community is different. What I would like to do is, as Mark gets through with this, is talk to you on strategy, funding strategy, and what that looks like and what position you're in, because that'll help drive something to.
If you ask me, should we replace 1960s cast iron pipes? Should we go build some stuff? Yeah, absolutely. But, I also drive, I have a 16-year-old Honda that a lot of people would probably say I should replace it. Probably a lot of legs left in that thing. If it starts to get, 6 years from now, if it has issues, okay, we'll deal with it then. Think about it anyway, but okay. Lead service lines, you guys made it through your lead service inventory and all the mailings and notices and all that good stuff. Great. So you're done with that, which is great because the vast majority of towns still have unknowns left in their system, but you don't. You have 10 galvanized lines, which are recommended to be replaced. Now, this is the private side of the service, as far as you know, correct? Not the
Mhm.
public side?
I have no idea what what it is between the main and the curb stop, but the curb stop, the house they identified when they put in the new water meters.
Yeah.
Did an inspection and they identified 10 galvanized.
Does the resident own to the property line where the curb stop is, or do they
Yeah.
own all the way to the main?
No, just to the.
Curb stop.
Okay,
You don't think there's any lead ones?
I heard a rumor there might be one, but
I know one.
know that one you're talking about, but I think it's on the list here as a galvanized.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let's see. That was on Willard Street.
Hmm. Holiday Street,
No.
On North Halliday.
Here,
yeah.
looking. No, it's not identified as far as the inspection that was done, it's identified as a.
Sure. Yeah. So one of the things that Department of Health allows, and there's money today to replace some of these pipe, these bulbs.
Yeah.
Lead service line and galvanized pipe. So we'd like to access that funding on your behalf and get signed up for it. There was a 5-year window for it. 26 is the last year unless the state puts in more money into that program. So we'd like to get you on your list for that sort of the later.
But this one I'm thinking of is new from the main to the curb stop, but the curb stop into the house is lead. So that's the owner's responsibility, right?
Well, so the program allows those grant monies to pay for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from the curb stop privately into their house.
Okay,
From the curb stop to the main is only a 50% pay. So they're trying to pay for the owner side because they realize that owners may not do it unless there's some sort of funding option. So, but it comes through the city lets out a contract to get it drilled into the homes.
they basically come in and directionally drill it, right? Okay, that's it for drinking water. On to sanitary sewer. And this is a map of all of the sanitary sewer mains running through the many colors. The red is clay pipe. The green is PVC, recently replaced, I'll say within the last 25 years. The bluish was clay pipe, but it's been lined, the cured in place pipe lining. And then that's it for existing. And then there's the pink highlighting down here is what you've been developing for replacement extensions as part of related to that drinking water, water main replacement. So there's varying types of pipes and conditions. The remaining clay pipe is due for replacement. I'll say due for replacement or lining. You're all aware of inflow and infiltration. Call it I&I, and the city has a compliance agreement with MPCA to reduce that. And again, the I&I has been coming down thanks to efforts by the city. Bunch of different things, pipe replacement, pipe lining, finding water leaks with ultrasonic meters and so on and so forth. Probably finding some cross connections and a little bit of smoke testing and all that. So that's great. Most of the system has been jetted and televised, and I've taken a look at all that televising, which is great. It's always good to know what you're looking at. The 2024 Halliday backyard sewer replacement is mostly done. Of course, there's that couple 100 feet, this little yellow line here, couple 100 feet left to go in. Once the title work is done and all the lawyers are happy and all that. So let me know whenever. I'm sure
it shouldn't take this long.
I know.
Well, we've got one back, but I had questions on it because of, it's the locker. Because of the estate with the owner, so, yeah. But yeah, so the attorneys are still working on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, while you're talking about it too. When we went our drive around that day, were you with that day we went driving around looking at down?
Yeah.
And that was the one spot, remember I mentioned that
You want to be able to measure it.
sampling well?
Yep, in case it's a significant
Yeah, so we can
industrial
have
use.
this,
Yep,
yeah, because they may be a SIG in the future.
yep.
Okay.
Yep, we got that in the notes.
Okay.
I'd like to be able to sample it, so that you could be within the legal easement. That is to say, you don't have to go on private property. We've got a couple. I was looking at another couple products with a guy in the office. We've got a couple ideas. I just figured we'd wait till we get all this title work done.
Yeah,
And kind of get ready to.
you know, it
Look at
wouldn't be a
finishing
bad
it.
idea to put in a manhole with a partial flume. So you could do flow monitoring too. Flow, you know, quantify the flow
Sure,
and sample out of the same well.
sure. It depends on how
'Cause
specific,
otherwise we have to, for flow, we have to go off of his water usage
yeah,
from what we sell him. But there's no way to monitor the amount of wastewater coming out, but that would be his own property where he'd probably have to put in if we say we have to, if he becomes a SIG and we have to do flow monitoring, quantify the flow, that's on him. So,
there you go.
you know, when you're digging it all up, maybe that's the time to do that and say we can, you know, put that on private property or tell him it's coming. I'm not sure how you.
Yeah,
that.
yep. No, I
It's gonna
agree.
be an expensive deal.
We have some ideas. I think we were just gonna wait until it was, the
Yeah.
title thing was kind of unstuck and the city was wanting to
Yeah,
get back going with finishing it. So, but that's all good stuff.
We found an I, which it doesn't show, there's a sewer right here. Running back here.
Okay,
It comes right behind these houses
yeah.
and through here and services this. It doesn't come into here at all.
Is that where the pipe was sticking really far into the
Yep,
main?
yep.
Their lateral came
Right
in?
behind that guy's house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one there's I there that we haven't gotten taken care of yet. That
Gotcha.
is a pretty big contributor, right?
I mean, we don't have numbers on it. It looks significant at the manhole, but when we were cameraing it, that was after rain. And we were getting some, like each service line, because it's clay pipes, you're getting it at each seam, and each service line had a little bit. So that tile line we thought was a tile line was plugged. But there was still I coming, still clear water coming from past where we could no longer get, and we weren't sure 100% where that was from.
And do we have to dig that up to get that pipe cut off so we can go there, or how is that gonna happen?
So the problem was that they can't get their machine. They have a machine that would be able to cut that off, but there's enough of a sag between in the first 100 feet or 50 feet even.
Can't
There's
drag it
enough of
back
a
out.
sag that they can't get their machine in.
When you say sag, do you mean the pipe dips or an egg? It goes
No,
like,
it's circle, but it
it dips so bad?
Yep, so they were talking about like, well, we could dig in another manhole, in the right of way past that sag, or we could dig up and replace that sag.
Yeah.
But
I don't
There's a few private lines that aren't on here.
Sure.
There's another one right behind us here. That serves 1, 2, 3 houses. But that was all dug up and completely, I think, redone here over the last 10 years.
I was gonna say, I saw the video from where they found that to be a problem, because I think it was all Orangeburg, right?
Yep,
And that was 2017 or something that
yeah,
video was put together, so.
okay.
Yeah. I know when I was watching your lining videos, they camera it before and then after the before stuff, you can see where the service line protrudes too far in. They have their 6 or 8 inch, it's basically a core drill. And it just, it's a drill that's just right inside the diameter of the pipe, and they just drill it off right before they line it, which is cool. And I know you guys are saying if there was lining done in the future, you would like us to look into the cost benefit of, they call it a top hat, because it's like a 5 or 10 foot sectional liner that runs up the service. And then where it connects to the main, there's like a top hat flange, so that there's a seal between the liner for the main line pipe and where the service connection is. You don't, because you can line through it and then you cut a hole in it and you might still have water coming in. And a lot of times the main is here. And if you just do even 5 feet, a lot of times that pipe will come up for a little bit. So then in terms of the water table, if you line up 5 feet, you just put yourself 5 feet higher away from the water table, depending on where that is.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on lining pipes?
Well, since you asked,
I mean, is it something that's gonna be there for 50, 60 years after you line it?
it could be if it's done well, if it's a good candidate, for lining, which would be this side. This is not a good candidate for lining. So
When it's,
if it's cracked,
Yeah.
but it's still holding its circular shape. There's not pumping, faulting chunks missing. There's not sag, like if the pipe runs like this, if there's a big sag in it, well, there's gonna be water there. So when you blow your liner through, that chemical reaction doesn't work right if there's a bunch of water laying in there and it doesn't stick to the pipe and it kind of falls away over time. So
people line because of cost, right?
Yeah.
Because it's less expensive. So, but one approach to look at it is that, a new pipe is a new pipe. And a liner is a repair of an old pipe. And it doesn't change. It can be cost effective in the right spot, but it's still a repair. And so it really comes down to what the funding is like and what that opportunity gives to you. We talk a lot about when we go after funding is, it's not necessarily sometimes how much it costs, it's how much your residents are going to pay for it. And sometimes that makes a difference between what people decide to do or not. And that's why it's so good that we have a discussion on what that looks like for you. And all these types of decisions are difficult when they come to infrastructure.
see when Blue Earth County took over County Road 1 going north or
Yep.
State Highway 66.
Yeah.
They wanted the city to dig that all up and put it, some of that's pretty deep. And we chose as a city to line it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the way it turned out, I think it'll serve the city for another 50 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Help me out with the lots here. Are there a lot of service connections to this line? Or do they mostly go to Hubble Street?
I think,
I would say that there is, they all go to Hubble. That line there just continues here and goes all the way out.
It more just carries.
Yep.
Yeah, see there it's, you know, when you're not cutting holes in the pipe every 100 feet for a house. So it's just a solid liner
Yeah.
in terms of like I and
Yeah.
structural.
In fact, there's a manhole back down in here somewhere that we've never as a city found yet. It's been buried for many, many years. And since it's such a long run, we should find it. So, you know, in case it ever got plugged up during the winter, it's the only time it'll do it, you know?
Yeah,
You know where that manhole is.
It's out in the field, I'm guessing.
No,
Or
it's behind these houses somewhere it's in here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We've never, I don't know, never been found.
So them pictures of them, that lined and unlined pipe, is that off our filming?
One more time, sorry.
The other, that one that's really bad, is that one of our?
No, this is not. This is generic photo.
Just an example.
Yeah, okay.
It's from a town up north of Growing Forks, but it's stuff. I guess I watched all the televising for all your lining projects and I thought you made some good choices. I mean, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, can't believe they lined that, you know?
Well, I think we've spent $250,000 lining, you know, trying to end the I because it was so hard for Brian to manage the goons there for many years. But now it's pretty manageable now. We still got one area that when we have a 2-inch rain event, out of water for a day or two, it's all gone again.
Have you done smoke testing through that?
Yeah.
No, still can't.
And the road keeps caving in. It's right over here, a block over, right by the Catholic church. The road goes like this and then it fell down and, well, that dirt's going somewhere.
Sure.
Nobody's found anything there, so.
Okay, so this is just a map that shows the sanitary sewer and the water main together on the same page. So this is more of like, kind of what I talked about earlier where if you're looking at replacing some more pipe besides what's shown in pink and yellow, it's a good idea to look at where, in terms of you got water main and sewer main. The light blue is old water, the red is old sewer. The spots that have old water and old sewer are probably the first places you'd maybe look, right? If you've got, as long as you're digging, if you're gonna blow everything up and open trench, replace it. Yeah,
So
so,
here's an example of just thinking about strategically wise. So let's say your street on top isn't in great shape. And you replace just your sewer line and don't do your water. Then you're gonna get money to replace half your street. But if you end up replacing half your sewer and your water main, then just like Vernon Center, you get your street done at the same time. So it's just strategically how to think about that differently.
That's South Holiday. Because we only have a 4-inch water main running up there. It's probably some of the oldest water main. I know the one water hydrant is very old. So that's very old there,
Sure.
where you would go for both probably, as long as you're there, do it.
Yep.
It's not blacktopped.
Right.
Because we tore the blacktop up. We ground it up and remilled it here 5-6 years ago, kind of keep it half-assedly,
mhm.
hard surface, keep the dust down. Because we know somewhere here in the future that it's all got to be dug up and done correctly.
Sure.
So that's why that road has been the way it's been for the last 5-6 years. Sue lives on there and she's shaking her head blacktop.
Lovely trying to take a shower and do laundry at the same time. Doesn't work.
Just that's, yeah, it's quite the deal.
So I mean,
In those streets too, it looked like the plan is to add curb and gutter and storm sewer, or is that kind of up? And that's what I saw in some of the past documents,
Engineers
but
put that in there, but I don't know what council decided.
it's however you decide it, but we did as a council, up, Chapel Street.
Yep.
We ran a great big PVC plastic.
Yep.
And we got a couple intakes, one's on Sue's lawn, and we kind of designed it that, one block would flow south, one block would flow north.
oh, yeah,
And to catch that and take it down to the creek, so we kind of had a little foresight there. So we have a plan there for stormwater if you regulate it with curb and gutter. Otherwise, if we don't have curb and gutter, it's hard to catch water and send it downhill.
sure. Yep,
And some of them blacktop curbs, some towns are doing that and they're fine. You just gotta be careful in the winter with snowplow because you can take them off.
Yeah.
Crazy man.
all right.
But what were you saying about if you do both, the street gets replaced, even though, how about if it wasn't
So let's talk
blacktop?
about that in a minute.
Okay,
Come back to that.
all right.
You got a lot of construction.
This is a site for the wastewater ponds. This is just a rundown of some of the history. I'm just not hearing that there's a need for much work out there. They're just in good shape. So
Since
done already.
treat it now with, what is that stuff, Ryan?
Very clear.
Yeah, now his numbers are fine, we couldn't hold it before with the I&I and everything.
Yeah.
But now that we built a little shed and we got that treatment stuff there, everything is coming out really well now. Everybody's happy, Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that when I talk later, but the last discharge, the fall discharge this year, the phosphorus was under 1 part per million.
And before that, we were always over, right?
Yeah.
Storm sewer, this is kind of the last of the big infrastructure slides here.
There isn't much.
Well, it's, and yet, there's been a lot of money put into it. There's some nice stuff out there. The orange is newer and really in good shape. The yellow is existing. I'm not sure what the condition is, and I'm working with Eli to kind of, I know I know there's more yellow lines out there that I'm showing, and I'm working with Eli to kind of fill in those gaps. And what I'm hearing from Eli is that maybe similar to like water main and sewer that's older is just replace as it makes sense, common sense with other needs. If there's water and sewer getting replaced at the same time, well, then the hope would be to replace any storm sewer that so. Yeah, and then again, this south, call it this, the pink area, again, this is related to your drinking water main replacement. The pink are areas that were shown to have some kind of storm sewer work done, or again, I'm not sure how much of it's pipe and how much of it is curb and whatnot. And then at least some thought put toward having a stormwater pond in this area. I guess a little bit east of basketball court, or potentially where it was, or I'd like to know a little bit more about that. If that stormwater pond is to become something the city wants to pursue.
Well,
You're talking about there.
Yeah,
yeah, the city owns, this isn't, the city owns all this woods except for 35 or 40 feet on the eastern portion.
mm-hmm.
So, this water is running right here. You could put your retention pond right in along over here. It's on our city property. Because here, if we wanted to have our tennis court or whatever
Yeah,
put back here, but this is very low land. It's
Yeah.
wet. You can't even walk in it in July sometimes.
okay,
Rains. So, there's a lot of room here for a retention pond. And how big it has to be?
well, I made the assumption that the pond was due to the fact that you'd be going from not having curb, not having a lot of storm sewer toward having curb and some storm sewer, which means the volume of water that rains in this area gets to here a lot quicker than it used to. As soon as you put it in a curb or in a pipe, it goes faster. And so not wanting to have this big blasting, if you just put it all in a pipe and turn it loose here, are you gonna have a big washout or an issue or something? I don't know.
We have a blow off.
Happens anyway? Okay.
It's down on, the ballpark right here. There's a manhole there and there's a tile that comes all the way from here down here and
Sure.
that drains all the fields out here. And anyway, when it rains really heavily, it blows out of that
It'll
manhole.
come out, it'll blow out of the,
But then
Yeah.
we trenched it now, so it has a waterway.
Yeah.
To keep it controlled, because it was going through the park equipment right there. So now it all goes right there and then it dumps back in down here.
yep,
But this pipe that we ran up Chapel Street, that's a 20-inch, I believe, black PVC. So in case we did any curb and gutter up on Holiday, it can handle it. It probably is overkill, but
I don't know, I'm more just bringing it up because it was part of the previous plan, and I'd like to know more about it in the future.
Sure.
It's
Yeah, it's.
what I don't want to do is just, run forward with it thinking the city this is exactly how they want it, where they want it, so.
well, we talked about replacing this here with a bigger tile, and we asked the county to get involved because it's
Yeah.
going out here and draining all that farmland. Well, they wanted to do the 100-year study and, they want to spend a lot of money
Yeah,
on all that stuff there where, water runs downhill. If you put a 24-inch pipe in, it's gonna handle a lot of water. You don't have to have all that stuff.
yeah,
But then the retention pond thing come about too, so, you probably would have to have that to satisfy the state, First County. How does that work?
maybe,
We just have to take a look at that. It's a little bit more concerning. There's more running to it than just that
yeah,
specific area, because that changes things.
right,
Yeah, because it dumps right here and it's an open creek from here all the way down to the river,
Okay. Yeah, so that'd be a great spot just because it's naturally going that way. Create a little retention pond to just kind of slow it down a little bit.
Mhm.
So. It would make a good.
With chloride becoming a big issue with the MPCA, that gives you a place to settle out your salt that you put on the streets. And it helps clean up your final point source to the river if they ever have to test for chloride there. This is the idea behind a holding pond is to settle out chloride and chemicals and fuel and things that get spilled on the streets. And that's the reason for it.
That means Minneapolis would be all underwater because all the chemicals they use up there, you'd never get it settled out.
Yeah.
Do us a favor, it'd have to be underwater.
Okay, great. I'm gonna let Brian do most of the talking.
So just looking at some of the needs you have and where you're at, so this list that gets published. So there's two parts of the list here. Is that one is to rank you amongst everybody else in the state. Okay, and that is your project priority points. That's what this is showing here. Okay, and then the other part is that the city had to basically apply through engineers the intended use plan. What project does the city intend to do? And so then they look at that, the state looks at how much money they have, and they decide how much money they can support down to what level of points. And then everybody above that points is eligible for the state funding. And so this is the first year in a long time, very long time, that the state has actually went down to 7 points. And the reason that your water treatment plant is at 7 points is because it's not even though it's corroding and having an issue, it's not considered a water quality health hazard. Okay. It is in terms of corrosion and its end of its useful life, but not you're not poisoning anybody. Okay. So you got 7 points on here. But what Minnesota did is they wanted to invest in infrastructure, particular drinking water and wastewater infrastructure. And so they had the means to bring the funding all the way down to 7 points. Typically, they cut it off at 10 or 12 points. So on a typical year, Good Thunder would not be on this list because you're only at 7 and 8 points. But because they brought the funding down that low, now you're eligible for funding through the state. Okay. A couple other things have really been changing. One is the state director of PFA, Jeff Freeman, retired last year, and a new person stepped into their place. And we've been pushing on the state for quite some time. Typically, the PFA has only been funding communities above 1,000 people. They haven't allowed their state funds, and that's why Vernon Center went with rural development, because they could access the state monies. They didn't have a choice. Well, now the feds are out of money. They're not providing grants like they used to. So Vernon Center got into the grant program, which is good, and we like rural development, and we almost always go to rural development. But right now, with the chop saw that's happening on the federal level, the funding for outstate Minnesota cities isn't there unless you have a health hazard. So what RD has said, and I just talked to the state director again today, is that there's no grants for communities that don't have a health hazard. None at all. Whereas in other years, they funded communities that didn't have a health hazard. So the funding cycle just ebbs and flows depending on what happens with money and as it comes or doesn't come. This year, because both Democrats and Republicans wanted to fund infrastructure and wanted to fund a lot of the drinking water, wastewater, Good Thunder is funded. Okay. Now, the part of strategy comes into play is that these three costs here, plus your sewer, plus your storm sewer costs about $10.3 million. And you're on the fundable list for all but 2.3, 2.4 million of that.
Ooh.
So the parts that were associated with wastewater, you put that. This pink, you were not put on the list for wastewater. And I don't know why, but you're not on the list. And you're not on the list for the storm sewer either. Okay? And so those were gonna be funded through what was referred to as non-eligible, meaning you had to get private funding or funding from Minnesota Rural Water because there wasn't any eligible state funds for those. Yeah. The part of this that I want to talk through is because the state only came down to 7 points because there was money there and there typically isn't that much. Good Thunder needs to move forward with getting this project designed and certified by the agency. Because what that does is it protects your spot in line. So right now it says you're eligible for the funding if you want to pursue it, but it doesn't guarantee it. Meaning if Good Thunder doesn't move forward with anything, that money may not be next year. It may not go down to 7 points next year. And then you're out of the list. So to preserve your spot in line, you have to do what's called begin design, and you have to have it certified by, in this case, the Department of Health. Okay, once you're certified, you can either go up for bid and get it constructed, or if you're not ready to go out for bid, it's design certified and it counts as a carryover project. And so rather than going from a Part B1 project, it becomes a Part A1 project and is automatically eligible for next year funding because it's been design certified. But if it never gets design certified, you start from ground zero again. And you're at the whim of the state putting money in to get you down to 7 points. What we would like to do is to get your new well designed, treatment plant designed, in these water main pieces all designed, get them certified, preserve that spot in line. The other part is that that's a lot of money for a community of this size, right? And so we want to make sure we're going after grants, but the grants are a first come, first served basis. They're called WIF, wastewater or water infrastructure grants. They have wastewater too, but you don't need those. Water infrastructure grants, there's 70 million. Once it's gone, it's gone. That 70 million is to help communities that can't afford purely loan debt to help buy down some of that debt so it's affordable. And so you get that in form of grants. We know that money is limited. We want to get our clients design certified and out for bid as quickly as possible, because when it's out for bid is when they'll actually let you know how much grant you'll get. Like we can run some models and try and figure that out, but it's not until you actually go out for bid, you find out what the bid price is, that PFA will actually underwrite this money and tell you how much grant you get.
You were talking about grants for the design. Does the city of Good Thunder have to pay for the engineering of this design up to a certain amount, then get the grant, or can you apply for the grant right away to help with the engineering of the design?
So the grant comes after it's been, after it's designed.
So Good Thunder would foot the bill for the design.
Correct.
Okay.
But we would have a resolution tonight. We'd also like council to consider authorizing that any cost you pay to take it through design is reimbursable after you go to bid, so you can pay this all back. And get this paid off.
So a ballpark figure of cost of design?
So this is, okay, we're gonna talk a couple different items here first before I'll get to that. And we have that number for you.
And so what's our timeline? So to get a design, that would take what, your firm, 8 months, a year?
So this is the thing, is that it's January, middle of January right now. In a typical year, they're gonna, in March of this year, they're asking people that want to be on the 27 list to submit their facility plan. So in 2 months, you have to submit your facility plan. By June 26, you have to submit your intended use plan, meaning you want more money for a future phase project. By August or September, in a normal year, this would be finalized. It wouldn't be waiting till January. Once that list is finalized, if your projects aren't design certified, you will lose that opportunity. So you have exactly about 8 months.
Okay, all right.
But can you get that design within 2 months?
Within that 8 months?
Well, I mean, I thought you said we had to get it up front here within 2 months by March.
Oh, not that part. That's
Oh,
a
okay.
separate piece.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so what, going back, and I want to, before we go forward. What we would like to do, and let's go back to the wastewater. So this part down here that was drinking water. Is eligible for funding. We want to get it designed, we want to get it certified. We want to sit it on the shelf. And we would like to go after 2027 monies, which we have to have done in a facilities plan in March. And go in intended use plan in June for wastewater. And your stormwater gets to be an ancillary benefit of doing water and sanitary in the same street. So your stormwater doesn't become an extra cost, it gets run through your water and wastewater. Now, Vernon Center didn't do that. Vernon Center stormwater is considered an extra cost, an extra utility. That was a federal program. The state program coming down to less than 1,000 people is a big deal because these costs can get wrapped up into funding. And so we would like to go after, pursue some additional funding on your behalf for down here. So we want to get your water plant and your well designed and get that out to bid as soon as possible. We want to get the water part here designed, but sit on the shelf so it reserves its spot in line and go after more money for you to go after clean water down here. And the big win here is by going after clean water, we get to count some of the stormwater as ancillary, so it's not a separate loan. Okay, and we get to get your street included in there. And even though it's been reclaimed, one could suggest it's been an asphalt street in the past, it's an asphalt street. And so we get to pick up the street. Now, the curb and gutter, since the curb and gutter wasn't there, that's going to be an ineligible cost because you're adding something new. Okay, but we can pick up a lot of the costs. Okay, so let me go back to your original question. There's two pieces here. There's a part of getting the drinking water, all the stuff that's on this existing list. Okay, getting this designed and certified. So it's going through design. And it's going through bidding. Okay. It's a big number. It's $957,000 to get it designed and through bidding. That's preliminary design, final design, and bidding. That's a huge number. Okay. We're also talking about, this is $1.2 million of total project costs. Right. So it's approximately 10% of that cost right now. By signing the resolution, all those costs that are reimbursable once this goes out for bid, and so the PFA will have dollars to help reimburse those costs. The quicker we get it out for bid, the better chance we get to go after that WIF dollars, which is the grant, to ensure this project is affordable for the city. Now, if we get to that part, we go out for bid, and let's say the grants are gone. we pause it, we stop, it gets included in the carryover project, and it becomes one of the first projects next year. Again, but we'd like to go after the money this year. So the sure thing is always better than hoping for a sure thing later. Okay. The second part of our request tonight is to put a facility plan together to go after the wastewater portion, the stormwater, and the streets associated with this. Now, facilities plan doesn't mean you have to move forward with the project. It just makes you eligible to move forward with the project. In June, you have to put yourself on the intended use plan for that. And then that sets things in motion. A lot of information. What can I help answer?
What was the engineering cost again? 900 what?
957,000 to take the drinking water. Well, and this was the project to. Going to design the final design.
Oh, maybe I got one pulled it over. So how would a city fund that $950,000?
So there's two ways. One, we have cities that have that kind of cash, they self-fund themselves. Alternatively, most of our communities secure a Minnesota rural water loan. And that they put that loan together, they basically borrow the money to pay for the engineering cost.
Can you do 50-50 or, you know, John, so we got like, what, 1.7 million, right? If you
Roughly.
Yeah,
roughly,
and
you know, we have quite a little money on reserve for the city of Good Thunder. Would we use it all or would we say we'll put up 500,000 and go get a loan for the other 457,000?
So let me help you understand the pieces of that, and then I think you guys can make a good decision on which way is best for Good Thunder. The PFA state program doesn't pay for the finance cost to go get the loan. So there's a $15,000-$20,000 to go access the loan. Okay, it doesn't pay for the interest on the money that's borrowed for that duration of time. So those two costs are an extra cost to the city. Unlike Vernon Center that did it, and the federal government reimbursed them for those two pieces of cost. This is actually better funding for you because the user rates are lower. Where Vernon Center was today's going through rural development, your user rates are going to pay 2% of your median household income. With the PFA program, it's either 1.2% for clean water or drinking water and 1.4% for wastewater. So your residents will pay less money going through the state program than if you did to the federal. So you just got to pay some money to borrow some money. If you paid for it on your own, you wouldn't have that cost and it would still get reimbursed.
With this stormwater here, that green line that runs from Chapel Street to Hiller Drive, it's right there on right there, that green line right there. Yeah, that one. Could you include that? That's like a 10 or a 12-inch coronated pipe that comes out on the south end.
Okay.
Could you put that in for a 24 or 36-inch pipe?
Are you ready?
Handle all that water so we don't use that overflow?
So we can put that into the facilities plan for going after 27 months. Anything you want to put in the facilities plan, in essence, doesn't cost any more to put it in. The cost is putting the document together. So if you want us to put in the facilities plan this water main up here,
Yeah,
we just put that in there.
okay.
If you want us to replace some of the, where you got an old cast iron pipe and you got an old water main and they're in the same area, we can put that into the facilities plan. Again, it doesn't mean you have to go forward with that project. It's just you can't get on an intended use plan without getting onto the PPL list.
For this borrow.
So
Cost this much. We just got a couple.
Okay.
Come in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the 957 needs to be, I'm assuming that's an upfront cost that we'll pay you before you get started, or is it
not
payable?
before we get started, it would be a lump sum cost that we pay, that we invoice you incrementally as the work is moved.
Okay, all right.
I just handed Sue some information on the rural water loan for different amounts of money that you borrow. There's an underwriting cost. If you borrowed the entire 900 some, it would be $18,200 to write the loan. In the last few days, we've helped other towns secure loans. Right now, those interest rates are between 4.5% and 5%. So if you want to have those numbers rattling around in your mind. So.
Well, you do this for a living. We don't. Being in the position that we could pay 500,000, is it better to use our own money and then go after the other half? Well, you know, what would your strategy be if you were us?
Well, we're not, so I want to make sure that you understand that, but the cost is less if you just borrow your own money and pay your own money back.
That's what we've done on a lot of projects over the years.
And then it gets reimbursed.
Yeah.
Could you get the resolution out?
Yeah, yep.
And that's the least costly way to do it.
Because some of the stuff we've lined, we didn't have enough sewer money in the sewers, you know, to reline them. But we borrowed it from the general fund. We didn't go out and get a loan to line our pipes.
Yeah.
And then we just turned around and paid it back. You know, we've done a lot of in-house financing. We haven't had a loan since our lagoons paid off. We haven't had a loan for a long time. We've done a lot of in-house financing because we had the money.
Got it.
So, you know, would it cut the city short, Sewer John, if we took the whole
Would
$950,000?
drain our foreign fund.
Yeah, that's what,
We'd have
we're just gonna invest more
We'll
money.
take some out of our
General fund.
operating fund right now.
I don't know if this is something we can even answer tonight. I think this is a lot to digest.
Yeah, this is a lot of money, but I mean, I can see where you guys want to get on this to get it in there. Because them lowering them numbers down to 7 is very important for the city of Good Thunder.
There's two pieces of that getting that down to 7, that 7 may not be there for 5, 6, 7 years again.
Right, yeah, I understand all
The water
that.
plant is desperately needed for repairs.
If you didn't get to see the trays up there?
I didn't crawl up in there. No,
Did you open the doors?
no.
Oh, well, I can enlighten you on that.
Yeah,
Because I've looked at them over the years and I can't believe they're still standing there.
yeah,
So if those trays would collapse and you can't aerate the water the way Brian is doing it now, we got good quality drinking water.
yeah.
But if you can't aerate it properly, does that put a danger? Put us into another, no?
It doesn't. It really is the water quality in the water that's coming out the other end. And if that exceeds EPA standards, which are administered by the state, then that qualifies you. Unfortunately, you don't exceed those standards.
Okay.
So, another thing that might be considered here is that if you use in-house money for the initial thing, the initial part, and then borrow later when you're closer to getting that funding, then you pay less interest and you can pay it down and it gets done.
Well, I mean, if we took $500,000 of our money and for the engineering costs, that would take us quite a ways down the road. Like you just said, then we could borrow 3 months or 2 months down the road, the existing, because you have to have this all done by March, you said. So,
Not March. So can you get the task?
so by June,
So there's two pockets we have to do. One pocket is to get this thing designed. That's the big one.
yeah,
And that's gotta be designed and certified as quickly as we can. No later than August of this year.
Okay.
Or September and later. Okay. The other one is the facilities plan for any new work you would like us to pursue for you, and I think you should have us pursue the sanitary sewer and the storm sewer work and any other work in the city that looks like it should be added. That has to be in by March. Okay. Two different buckets. One is your big one, which is getting signed. Your second one is for new work for 2027 to put on the IUT list to combine with his work, some of his work you already are doing. Do you want these? The brief ones, I'm scroll. You have copies.
Yep, these are the copies.
Okay. Go ahead and just pass off the one.
They're together, but we'll just.
So we get this money that probably won't happen till 2027.
So. Once it gets off the grid. Prior to award of the money. So. The drinking water plan in the well, we'd like to put that on the high priority list. Try and get that done yet this year. And out for bid. If we can get to those grid funds. We want to get you those grant funds. So we want to get that, so your infrastructure done. And out for bid. And everything goes right, we'll have you paid back yet this year. The other piece of the funds, we want to get it design certified and then let it rest. And hopefully get this other funds to go to your sanitary, your storm sewer. And package it, and then take that out for bid for 27 construction.
In all this presentation, it didn't say anything about the existing building. If we went forward and built a new building, what would happen to all this here?
What do you want to have happen?
Well, I mean, the equipment would come out of the building.
Demo all the equipment inside. If you want to retain the building, we could look at doing that. If you wanted to demo the whole thing, we could look at doing that as well. It really depends on what you would like to do with that.
I mean, that would be more cost to gut it or demo it. So I mean, do we have to have that all figured in this cost too, or?
You don't have to have it all figured out right now. Right? That we can get that included or not included up until the end.
Okay.
So there's time to think about what you want to do with that.
Yeah, that, I don't see what a guy could use that for. We have a generator there. That would have to go down to the other location. Hopefully we can use the same generator. And because otherwise you'd be thrown away and buying another new one,
So
Transfer switch.
this is funding now. We're talking a different animal.
Yeah.
So the question is, if you're gonna get grants, do you want a new generator? Or do you want to use your old one that you're gonna have to replace in 10 years?
Yeah, but that big 2-letter word, if. If
Well,
we
you're
get lucky.
gonna know before you have to pull the trigger
Oh, yeah.
on whether you do, because we can put that in as an ad alternate. Then you'll know what money you're getting and you could make that decision as a council
Okay,
after you know.
all right.
Because right now, the decision, I'm assuming you want that decision tonight on whether we want to finance it all ourselves or split it or take a loan out so you can start the design process, right?
So I think the funding piece is how you're gonna do it is probably a separate discussion.
But no, I'm just talking about paying you the design fee, that $957, because that $957,000 we would have to probably have paid in full by August, because you would have to have everything designed and submitted by August.
Correct.
Okay,
But we're also going out for bid right away.
right.
So if not sooner. So, yes.
So tonight you want a yes or no? And how much we'll put up, like he said, 500,000, or does that not even matter to
So
you?
what, tonight, what we'd like is authorization to move forward with design. On everything that's been funded,
Right, right.
okay? So that's 957. We'd also like authorization tonight to move forward with putting any projects you want us to put on the 27 list tonight. That's an additional 50,000.
So,
Those two combined would be our ask for tonight. Both are reimbursable costs. And if you would just read this resolution for council so they can understand what it's saying.
Yeah, so the PFA, the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority, is the Minnesota state agency we're talking about requesting money from. So the draft resolution says, oh, a lot of good lawyer speak here. Be it further resolved that the city of Good Thunder, Minnesota is hereby applying to the Minnesota PFA for improvements to its municipal drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater systems as described in the application. Now, the application would be the previous application, the what was yellow, and then this pink,
And then everything new.
and then also the new facility plan
Yes.
for $50,000. Be it further resolved, the city of Good Thunder has the legal authority to apply for loans and grants and the financial, technical, and managerial capacity to repay these loans, ensure proper construction and operation and maintenance of the project for the entirety of its design life. That's a fancy way of saying you can actually pay back the money you borrowed. You're gonna get it built, you're gonna operate it and maintain it so that it doesn't fall apart in 10 years. And the state gave you a bunch of grants and loans, and then the thing whatever fell apart. So pretty standard stuff. Be it further resolved that the city of Good Thunder hereby expresses its official intent to use proceeds of these loans and grants to reimburse planning, design, and construction expenditures made prior to the issuance of its general obligation bond to the Public Facilities Authority. So they call it a general obligation bond to the PFA. That could be another word for a loan or something.
So the PFA would give you that money. This says that they would reimburse you for all of that. Putting that in place now before we get started means that all this cost is reimbursable. And this thing just has to.
how long before we would see reimbursement if it got funded, say, first go around?
So if we get out for bid, it gets funded. Believe the monies you can start to draw is on June 1st. So, but it's got to get out for bid.
Right, right.
Okay. So
So that'd be June 1st of 2027,
26.
26.
Money's available for the drinking water will come available. Some people have already started design, like maybe a year ago,
Right.
right? But you didn't know where you're at and your points are low. Now you do. Now we got to get you caught up. So it could be possible that you get funds yet this year. In a perfect world, shortly after bid, which you're not going to have any more money until it goes out for bid, until you know. And then the money will start becoming available because you need to draw on that for construction.
Because we're also gonna have to look at then. Say we get funded, but it's not gonna be a guarantee that we'll, chances are, from my understanding, we will not get funded for the entire construction amount. So we're also gonna have to take out some kind of funding loan to help cover the costs once we get into construction, correct?
So I got to get back to you on what that looks like.
Okay,
But my hope is that we have draw funds that'll help do that, and this is paid along the way. Now, here, understand is that PFA hasn't had the history of working with communities under 1,000. Communities under 1,000 just don't have the cash laying around to help pay for these things. So we have to work on getting this more coincided correctly. I'd like to get back to you on that. I don't have it tonight, exactly how that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, because we could fund it ourselves, but that's gonna leave us no fund money at all. I mean, we're gonna have to suck it up and forfeit doing other things. But if it takes, if it takes 2 years for us to get back, because it's to fund both of them, it's $1,007,000 between the 957 and the 50,000 for the other. That's a big chunk of change. And we're gonna have to pay all that out through the billing process through once you have it designed, which sounds like August. So my concern is, I mean, I love it that we're on the list. I mean, I never thought we would get there, but it's a big chunk of change for us to forfeit right now. I know there's a long-term benefit for it, but it's just, we've got to also operate through those.
So then I would consider doing 50-50. 50% of your own money, save that interest, right? And then at 6 weeks before we need the other money, we'll make application to Minnesota Rural Water for the remaining funds.
They never turned anybody down.
They haven't.
Yeah.
No. And so we'll get those funds for the rest of it. And so then you're not feeling the anxiety. You've got that available. And once we get this out to bid, the majority of that's gonna get paid off.
So then the loan, we would have to start that process right away too, if we did a split 50-50 split, correct?
It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get the loan in place for Minnesota Rural Water.
Okay. Oh, that's what the loan is through. Okay.
So you don't have to start it right away, but 6 weeks prior to when we need it, we just start the process.
And then through all this and your engineering, you keep us abreast of when we need to apply for that loan. You're the ones that are gonna say, hey, City of Good Thunder, it's getting close now. You need to go to Rural Water and get the other $450,000.
We know we're not gonna get paid until you get a loan in place.
That's the deal.
So that works how it works. Right, so but this is what Angela does. And this is what she helps her communities work through. Getting those other funding pieces in place.
And that's 4 to 5% interest on that money?
It's right here, 4.5 to 5.
I just talked to Laura this afternoon, our director of that. In the last 2 business days, we've had a couple of those loans come through and they've been between 4.5% and 5% annual interest.
Has that come down in the last?
Yeah, I used to tell cities 5 to 5.5 up until recently, I guess.
When the feds lower the interest rate, which Trump is really after, does that immediately affect Rural Water's interest rate then too?
I don't know.
So I don't know how quickly it affects it. But obviously, once the loan is taken, it won't change it after that.
But it's Minnesota Rural Water, so is it federal dollars or is it Minnesota dollars?
It's Minnesota dollars.
Okay.
It's actually Minnesota Rural Water is accessing banks in the state of Minnesota to help fund these loans. And they're acting as the financial recipient. And then they make the loans to the communities.
So it's a streamlined process
that helps get the fees down.
Okay, fast.
I just thought, I know what we can do with that building.
What?
I shouldn't say this, but we can put daycare in it. Minnesota. I just couldn't miss.
There you go. Open 1 hour a day like the ones in the cities.
Yep. So,
We
I mean-
this $1 million out to you, are we guaranteed that we're gonna get this funding?
Yeah, and because this list was finalized today. Before tonight, we were thinking we were gonna come in with you a draft. Because that's all they had, but they finalized it today. So you are in it.
We're guaranteed.
right? If you get a design, you're in this range. You get access to those funds.
Well, we've been saving money and being very frugal with our money for many, 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 many years. I think this is my 32nd year, and I think when I come on board, the city had like $65,000,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And we've saved money and we still provide services. Some say our taxes are a little high. Yeah, I agree. I think some of that's to do with Blue Earth County. And, but I think we've been putting this off, and Brian's been telling us about
I know.
our aging facility over there for probably the last 10, 15 years he's been doing it. And I just,
Talking about when I was on council 30 years ago.
I just don't think we can take and not move forward because of those numbers there is gonna help us, you know?
No, I mean.
First time you probably qualified.
So, I mean, John's our financial guy, him and Sue, and, I think, we took 500,000 of our own money and funded it up until we needed more, and then go to rural water and get the other remaining 450 or whatever it is. Probably wouldn't be that bad a game plan. We still have.
I know, I know it needs to be done. It's,
You'd feel better about the 50-50 though.
The firemen were here last
yes, because
month and they want a new
rescue truck.
truck. And you know, that could cost the city, what was it gonna be, 130,
About 100.
100 and some thousand?
Depends.
It was gonna be up to 250,000 and it'd be thirds because they have a couple townships in the city, so, you know, 75
75 to 110,
85.
what we could look at.
Yeah, leave some wiggle room in your, you know, if you got a 5-year plan or, you know, however your future budget forecasts look to. No,
Well, my thoughts are Good Thunder needs to make this final decision and move forward because it is time. Oh, getting back to that street that Sue lives on, South Holiday. And you touched on a little bit, even though it was blacktop years ago, it is not right now.
Well, you're not saying that. It's, I got blacktop years ago.
It's blacktop now.
It's blacktop now. Yeah.
It's just breaking up.
It's deteriorated.
Breaking up. Yeah.
So how would that go then, going up that street? Sewer and storm sewer.
we drove it.
And blacktop, would it automatically call for curb and gutter? How does that all work?
So curb and gutter, since it's not, doesn't exist there today, you can add it, but it's an ineligible cost,
Okay,
right?
it's our cost.
It would fall outside of the grants
Yeah.
and the low interest loan.
Yeah.
Provided for construction.
And what does it cost to run curb and gutter per foot?
Oh, I mean, construction, 40, 45 bucks. No.
It's come down quite a bit. So
Yeah.
it kind of depends if you're gonna want to go with if you match your curb and gutter here, you want to go to a little bit thinner section to save some money. I would recommend concrete.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll be happy with asphalt at the end of the day, but we can make that a 12-inch.
Yeah.
Right, make it smaller and less,
But that would be the second phase project.
27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that qualify as drive over curb as well? Is there a
Good.
huge difference there?
You can do charcoal.
I was actually gonna suggest it with a little bit narrower right away. It just,
You're not redoing everybody's driveway approaches.
Exactly.
You're gonna take
Yeah.
off their whole front door.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know, you're gonna be right up to my front door.
Mhm.
it's a nice look and it functions really well.
But
They have that smooth, kind of a subtle S rather than the. The regular style, that'll hold a depth of water and that's kind of nice because if you got a lot of volume of water, but. Yeah, for that area, that would look slick, so.
But could you do it without it? Cause I know Ewing Street doesn't have curb and gutter. What's the difference? I mean, why would you?
you don't control water, and to me, you wreck your base underneath your street because you're allowing the water to run off and go underneath the street, and it sits there and it just punks it up, and to me, it wrecks the street.
sometimes it can kind of break off the edges of
Yeah.
that bituminous pavement with cars and trucks. You know, it just kind of breaks kind of right there and a little bit more rutting, like with people parking and stuff. I don't know. It's
The
not
garbage,
awful, but
the garbage trucks, you know, they carry quite a little weight, you know, that may be done. And they can be awful hard on the edges of the road, you know, where this concrete holds it together. Well, with that being said,
Make a motion.
somebody make a motion to move forward on rehabilitation of a lot of things.
So the first is task order 2.
Oh, you need these signed for a resolution? Or,
these are the signature copies.
So
So I
let's
read
do the
that.
first one. Let's do the resolution first, which is reimbursing the city for any prior costs, including our design cost, including our facility plan costs. That would require a resolution.
What number would this be for the year?
Well, we're probably not gonna do the other two that I have in here today, so, or the other one. So I'm gonna say,
2026 3?
think so, because you're not gonna move money now, are you?
Probably not. It would make
no,
no
probably
sense.
not. No
So
problem.
then, yeah, we use 3.
3?
Yep, 2026-3.
Okay, so may I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-3? Applying for the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority. Was all stated the last 45 minutes. Simple as I can put it.
Well, you got 3 here.
We're not doing that one though, because
This one?
that's the one
Bank.
moving the money.
Oh.
No, we're not doing that one,
Okay.
not anymore.
I'll make a motion to approve 2026-3.
Someone a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried.
I'm assuming this, for this one, we'll be getting, because this is what you have to have in by March, so you'll be gonna be submitting this one quickly and we'll have a bill for that one.
For number 3, task order 3.
Yeah, that's 43, yeah. Yeah, okay.
You have 2 of these or?
I don't, I apologize.
I can make a copy
Just
of it,
make a
yeah.
copy.
That one I just brought one.
So the next would be task order 2 for final design bidding and negotiation for all the items that have been funded on this list so far. Which is the well, the water treatment plant, South Valley. The ones are very good.
Do we have to, if we eliminate this building? Do we have to run another water main down that alley? Now we wouldn't, would we? Because we have one brand new 6-inch, I believe, going to that fire hydrant.
By your store there?
Yeah.
That brand new hydrant that's there? Is that all new main?
All
coming
new,
out?
yep.
Well, we would just need a main for the raw water to carry the raw well water to the.
Yeah,
But you're right, because that. In the original application, that regular water line was slated to be replaced as well. So you've got that done already.
yeah,
So you're right, we wouldn't need to do that.
okay, but we do have to.
Yep.
Another one for the raw water from
Correct.
this well down to that.
The untreated water from the well.
You've got that marked on that print though, right? That. The center,
That's the adding that valve for the hydrant, so we can isolate the hydrant or the tower.
The tower.
But I'll just make a note so we don't forget.
Did you just kind of got thinking about this, that lot that the new treatment plant would go on? You see how that all raises up there? Would that area have to be brought down? So it's level, you know, because it goes up like this.
Yep, we saw that, yeah.
I don't really like that.
Uh,
I don't really like that.
and you know, I just got thinking, Kelvin wants us to extend the street. You know, it's a lot of clay down there. We could take the clay off there and use that up there and extend that street.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah, it's on the west end.
Over here,
Yeah,
is it this thing?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
What's the, is there a name for that street, like an official name, or is it just platted public right over?
I don't think there.
And that's,
yeah.
that's okay.
Well, the back road back there is Carlson Street.
Yeah, see, that don't even have any of it on there.
No.
It's right over here, and that's where the street would be coming down.
I don't think it's got a name.
I mean, you guys are gonna do it, that's great, I'm just curious.
But I got thinking that lot, to me, should be leveled out. And
if you can use the dirt.
so can the city, before any of this gets funded, can we take and go in there and say we want to scrape off that clay to build that street? Can we do work on that lot, even though none of this is in order?
So it is, the only thing we need is, we gotta get a survey going. As soon as possible, and we're gonna survey what the hump is. And then we have to design it. Knowing that the hump's not gonna be in it, so just realize that there's just some little bit kind of back and forth, but. I don't see us leaving that hump in there,
No, I don't
I
either.
see us taking that all off and
Yeah.
going back
Yeah.
down, so we'll set that grade at something else.
You want a little bit of drainage, of course.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But yeah,
right now, the sidewalk goes like this, on the west side. The sidewalk would probably disappear, which we've been working at trying to get new ones. Now we're gonna take out one. That's good, but that's progress.
out of curiosity, I'm guessing the old basement. Cement or concrete is,
It's all gone.
oh, it is all gone,
Yeah, we took it out. It's out of the hole.
gotcha, okay,
It's filled back up with dirt, so.
got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So how big a building would be over there for this facility? I mean, would that be sitting right over where the basement was, where we'd have to dig down and recompact it, make it better?
But I think we'll have to wait on the technical report, what that one comes out as, but. See that, come back and.
So we wouldn't want to take all the clay off there because you're probably gonna need that.
Chance there, you
Fill the hole.
two sizes. Building one. Because of all the little.
Yeah.
Chemical rooms.
And is that building like pre-stress or what?
There's different things we can make it out of, but a lot of times we like to do block,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a rock face on the outside. With block on the inside or, and then better insulation on it, but. We can go through that with you.
Okay. All right.
What was the next one?
So it's task order 2 for. Design and bidding for the water plant.
And that's the $50,000 expenditure.
Task order 3.
That's task order 2, this one.
So add the copies, we had 2 and 3, so.
Yeah, so we just do task order 2 first.
That's for the 957. Yeah, somebody want to make a motion then to approve order number 2 for $957,000 for final design bidding and negotiation. Someone says.
Yeah, so that'll be 2026-4, correct, Sue?
That's just the task order, it's not.
Was that resolution? Oh,
It's just
okay.
the motion, yeah.
Motion.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make that motion.
Someone a second.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
That's task order 3. Fully planning.
Somebody make a motion then to approve task order number 3 for $50,000.
I'll make that motion to approve task order number 3 for 50. Mulligans.
Someone to second.
Well, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried.
Okay, could you just review with maybe circle? The areas the council might have to include in the facility. Yes. I'll do it at the time.
Minutes left to the sheets.
Probably have to have them in it first.
Okay, so this is the map of the existing sanitary sewer and water main. If it's easier for you to flip to your own personal, feel free to do so. The areas with the yellow and the pink highlighting, that's already in the IUP facility plan that's coming up this spring, summer, whatever. So then for task order 3, we're gonna add the sanitary sewer and storm sewer in this pink area to a facility plan and get that stuff on the PPL. But are there other areas outside of any of that highlighting that the city would like to add to the facility plan? And keep in mind, this isn't committing you to spending any money. It doesn't increase, it doesn't, you're not committed to spend that money. You're just identifying it as something you want to pursue funding for. So.
Me personally, it'd be the looping, I know you don't know, yeah, middle to minor for sure. The first 2 blocks over, and then if we bring that all the way to Holiday as well.
And
Talking about sewer.
Are you just talking sewer?
Sewer, water,
and-
storm. Sewer, water, storm. Anything.
Okay,
Yep. All
so that would be for water main, but
water main. Yep. Red clay pipe. Any of the red sanitary sewers, clay pipe. I know you mentioned this area here. It was this one here.
No.
That had that. You're wondering about the I&I.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be a good one
That's one that's got the dump behind it.
with the service sticking in the
Yeah.
fire and
Yeah.
sag.
Oh, and Charlotte, or however you ever say that.
Can any of this ever be done for new development?
I'd have to ask. Question, Brian.
Yes.
The PPL application, can that include extending utilities for new development, or is it just for existing infrastructure?
So it can include looping, but it can't.
Water main looping, yeah.
But it can't include new infrastructure. Right?
Makes sense.
And for new
The
connections.
looping, they consider that a water quality enhancement, so that's included.
But like a new housing development or something is an awfully tough sell.
Yeah,
It's it based, yeah.
Well, the guy that built this buildings here. I own this piece of property right here.
Yep.
He still wants to build more buildings here.
Okay,
And this is Graham Street. And there's water and sewer right to this corner, but I believe right in here somewhere that main goes down to 4 inches.
correct.
And it must go 4 inch all the way around there.
Yep, it's that whole U shape is 4 inch.
Yeah, and see, he would like to buy this and put up like 6 or 8 more of them buildings. But and then what he talked about putting affordable houses along Hiller Drive here too. I don't know how far that's all gonna go, but on grade houses.
Yep.
Affordable housing,
Yep,
but none of that would fit into any of this.
sure.
Well, fits in is like, you could take a water line this way on a loop.
Yeah, because there's that hydrant right here in this street that we're doing, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you could, because that is another dead end and we got quite a few of them in Good Thunder.
But I think it's a stretch to go from here.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
because they'd probably say, well, if you want a loop, just come down here.
Well, see, that's another thing. The lady, these 2 houses here
Yeah,
have private lines
they do, huh?
from here
Okay, sure. Yeah,
and here to here.
yeah, why wouldn't you, I suppose? Yeah.
They have private lines running across that field now.
They were just on wells up to what,
Sure.
20.
So they're not,
years ago.
are they, is that in city limits?
Yeah, this, the whole thing is in city.
Oh, those 2 farms, I'll call them, are in city limits?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they have city water and sewer.
Sure, okay.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, that's right, they got the,
So, I mean, being that they're private lines, if you ever ran this up here to serve them better. Does that make it qualify a little better or not? Probably not. Huh?
Well,
You know what, things can go in here and then we just get to hear from the agency. We just don't wanna twist our arm too much to try and get things covered, but like this is a loop. Right? This might be a little bit of a pinch point to go all the way in one shot. It might be this is a loop and then, oh, well, this needs to be a loop another year. Right, as things grow and need. So it doesn't have to be done all at once. It might be helpful to do over a number of different cycles.
But if nothing else, we even upsize that one on Graham Street.
Yeah, I mean, that 4 inch that ends there right at Willard probably, or a little bit past there. Being that that's gravel road on Chapel, you know, there was a thing here a year ago that the state doesn't want 4 inches.
right.
So would we be talking about upgrading that since it isn't a blacktop road that?
I think that's something we need the city to tell us. And that's kind of what we're asking is what do you want to identify for? I do know that there are the construction plans from when this was put in the city does have those, so we can verify the size here.
But if that is a 4 inch, we can upsize it
Yeah, yeah.
and just do it.
Was it a minimum 6 or something?
I believe so.
That's
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, if you got a water tower and fire flows and hydrants are 6 inch diameter, you know, the barrel of that type and all that.
I know. for a
Annual
fact,
compliance report from the Minnesota Department of Health outlines a lot of their requests or suggestions on which ones that they wanted to see us loop and upsize. It's in our book in the binder here. We get a report every year from MDH.
Yeah,
And that's always mentioned year after year is the size of those mains.
because we got a dead end here at Ewing Court also with a fire hydrant.
Yeah, correct.
We got a dead end there too, you
One
know.
of the things we could do is look through your records, talk with Brian and Eli, and then bring back a recommendation for council to consider.
Which was good.
I like that. Yeah.
well, if the state's recommending certain loops, that'd be the ones to look at.
Is that the?
Always one right down here on by DeLugies, that street. That's one of them she always has on there every year.
Oh, another thing where that new fire hydrant is, if you ran up new water on South Holiday,
Think, yeah.
and where that new hydrant is by the gas station, would you just go straight south there and serve Holiday then?
Yeah, I would. I was looking at that 3-4 weeks ago and I thought, well, I think you'd probably just bore under
Yeah,
Sherman Street
yeah,
and connect it.
yeah.
You've got better circulation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was probably the intent when y'all were talking about this. It's just, but no, I would absolutely do that. I would maybe drill it since that already got ripped up and it's real nice. And
Yeah.
new sewer and all that, but
And that's
Yeah.
doable to drill that?
oh, gosh, yeah.
Oh, really? Perfect. Yeah, because then you don't wreck the street that we just kept
Yeah.
in there.
And you don't even need a permit because that's not a county road. So
Perfect. Less paperwork.
that's right.
So all we can do is put our heads together and think of all these things that maybe would make it all better for the city in the future.
Yep, maybe, yeah, agree. If you want to be thinking on your end and we'll put some thoughts together on our end. And then we'll maybe get with these folks and kind of talk about it before whenever it is you want to, you know, see that formal council meeting or,
Yeah.
you know, if that's a good plan, I would probably suggest it that way.
So now what you're taking for input now is part of that facility plan that task order 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So with doing what we're doing, we have a bid here to do some work over there and one's down to 20,000 and is up to as high as 26,000. Where do we still do that work?
You're looking at imminent failure of that pipe over there.
I know,
Already doing one couple or the other.
but then we could go back to just iron pipe. We wouldn't have to put stainless. We're gonna be using that facility only maybe 2 more years. You know, why buy How
The other
many?
thing I noticed about these quotes that you guys got, just looking at it quick, it doesn't spell out anything on here as far as bracing and what, this is just for replacing the pipe. We don't want, it's pretty basic. There's nothing there about,
Yeah, I think we'd want to go back to just iron pipe now, you know. We spent this kind of money, we might wanna, I don't know how much iron pipe versus stainless steel, it's gotta be again as much, right? For stainless versus iron.
Well, it's gonna be less for iron, but you could consider Schedule 80 PVC.
no. Not in this application, we'll blow it apart. There's so much water hammer there, that whole pipe goes completely.
Yeah, it
Wouldn't have
hammer
us,
bad.
it's at 400 gallons a minute, because it's no longer connected up into the top of the filter, it's flapping, so
Gotcha.
You and I can work on that and get
Yeah.
you
Mm.
for that, yeah.
We better start saving money.
Well,
Yeah.
it's real money. I mean, you don't mind spending money when you feel like the impact and payback is there, but you just throw it around either.
Right, yep.
Should we just put those costs in that folder that you're gonna ask for reimbursement?
Okay,
Don't know if it's possible, but let's run it through.
Okay.
Since it's done after the resolution was passed.
I was looking at Gantt chart. You had asked for some Gantt chart. So with some of this stuff too. So
Right.
I have some templates
Mhm.
that I've kind of been,
those are so nice
I
for
will,
these guys.
I'll share that with you next go around and see.
What he's talking about is a Gantt chart. So when you have an engineering firm doing work for you, it shows this date, this much is done, this date, this much is done. And you, at a glance, you can see how all of your projects are coming along, and it's updated on a regular basis, and
So that I
for
can,
you guys, a Gantt
I
chart.
can update Sue before she's getting her packets out.
You might say, how's this part of that project? I don't know, but then they can keep it updated and, you
Okay,
know,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I live in a town just like Good Thunder and I like doing what I do. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
How many small towns are like in our process right now?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And part of that is because Bollig's gotten good. And this is what we do. We specialize in communities of your size. And we help them understand strategically their infrastructure, but more importantly, we help them understand strategically the funding, how they access the funding. But you can have all the grades in the world, but you can't access funding.
I like that part when you came here and you said you do towns our size because not saying nothing bad about Bolton and Mink, but they're for the Mankato's. You know, maybe you guys are for the Good Thunders, you know, in the small towns, so.
And we've seen that's just being overlooked. And you know, the one thing that we really like is what I really like is when you say the Pledge of Allegiance all the time. I mean, this is the heartbeat of our country. Is the small towns, the council, the Pledge of Allegiance. This is who we are.
Yeah.
These are all volunteers. You're not getting, you get small little stipend, but you're really volunteers helping your community.
Yep.
That's what we like to be part of. Thank you very much for your trust. And it's our duty to continue to earn that always. So we will be bringing you information back.
Okay.
Any questions come up to extra, so I'm always available. Well, I'll be not get our more.
That should be fine. You want a PDF? I can send you one.
Send me that.
I'll do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brian.
Alrighty, we can continue on. Street updates, Eli?
Yeah, so I guess other than snow plowing, the one kind of big thing came up was on the corner of Front and Flynn Street. 147 North Front, they did have a sewer backup in their service line. They jetted it out. There's a bunch of Orangeburg in there. That is one area that hasn't been televised. I would say probably 90% of ours since 2016 has been. And we'll get Empire in there, but there's gonna have to be a little bit of work. Once we figure out where that line's running and where it hooks to the main. We'll want to get that Orangeburg out of there because of I&I.
Yeah.
In the past, I believe it's been, or maybe Robert, you can say, because that might end up being similar to this Main Street here, where I think there's maybe 2 service lines or like 3 service lines on a stub main.
Yeah,
So does the city take care of the stub main and then everybody's kind of on the hook for their service line, or
I would think,
I can do the digging into it too and kind of come back once we figure out what's actually going down there, but
where's that at? Yeah,
south of Denny Nelson's, the Torgerson place.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
So where his service line is running is not towards a main. So I'm thinking maybe Nibby's and maybe not Myers up the hill is hooked together as well. But I'll get more information on that and we can talk about it in February. Luke's Electric hung and unhung the Christmas decorations. It was well worth the cost and just the safety aspect, let alone the time. Vernon Center Lumber, I don't know if we want to go over numbers for removing the garage now or not. Those were in your packet. Okay. I put carbide cutting edges on that 450. I plowed a couple of times. Can't even tell I used them, other than the paint's gone. Sander lifting bracket saves a ton of time getting that sander in and out. So that worked well. I've looked at some suitable replacements for the plow truck. Haven't found any. I'll let you know if I do. And I did start sweeper repairs today, so working on the brakes now, and I'll continue going through that. And I'll let Robert or Brian cover the water stuff because he's here finally. Finally.
Oh.
I got a lot.
Nice job.
You have any questions for Eli before I?
no,
All right, I'm short and sweet too.
that's not what Kathy said.
Yeah, we're starting a new year. This year, for myself, my water license, continuing education credits are up for renewal. And Eli needs to take his Class D wastewater exam in March. He has a year under his belt. When? March, somewhere in April, by the time you get the test. So he can actually get his test and become certified Class D operator for the wastewater ponds. And so I would suggest what I'm asking for you to do. I have the conference application form here. It's going to be for, if we postmark it prior to February 27th, it's $350 per person. If we're a rural water member, which we are, to attend the 3-day session. My 3 days will be all training. His 3 days will all be exam prep. So he'll be in classroom training and then the test is on the final day. And typically the way they prep you, you'll pass the test. So it's going to be that. It's going to be hotel for travel, mileage, stuff like that. So what we're asking the council for tonight is approval to attend the Minnesota Rural Water Association Technical Conference in St. Cloud, Minnesota in March 3rd. Let's see here. March 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Yeah,
Let's hope March comes in like a lamb.
yeah, true. Yeah. So we're asking for your approval for that.
Somebody want to make a motion then to approve the conference for the 3rd to the 5th in St. Cloud, right?
I'll make the motion to approve the council, Eli getting to be certified for, what'd you say?
And me.
Oh, both of you. I'm sorry, yes. Both of you to attend the conference.
Yes.
Somebody make a or someone second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
I
I oppose, motion carried.
So you have a copy of this application too?
Online, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'll fill mine out and so you can just credit card it and do your thing.
You can do it too.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if you want to just do it for both of us,
Getting pretty close to my limit.
You're fine.
All right.
Okay.
you're fine. So that, Yeah, water wise, we just had some stuff to talk about with the piping quote. You guys will have to, he's gonna do a little more research on that and see if we can clarify it a little more. Get a quote for cast iron. We don't have that yet. And
For sure, there's a couple chunks of pipe that for sure need to get
for sure,
replaced, and it's if it makes more sense to do the chunks or do the whole thing. Probably do the whole thing,
Mhm.
but we can get those numbers, and we want that one, for sure, the one valve replaced, cause there's one that's leaking back.
yeah, that leaks back to the filter and
Info.
constantly overflows.
Yeah.
So that's like I.
I guess, we gotta get the pipes replaced, you replace them, but save the money and not go stainless now, because in 2 years you'd have a whole new facility.
The pieces they patched in were all stainless.
Yeah.
Full pieces,
Yeah.
whatever. And get
But some of that's back there where that'll probably stay with the transfer of
That's
the,
all that means.
Yeah, one piece of it anyway,
yeah.
one little spool piece. But.
Brass and stainless almost cheaper than steel.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
You'll have to ask them.
When we
Yeah,
quoted
the thing
it,
is, when you go to cast iron, it's gotta be threaded with threaded flanges, and the stainless steel, they're pre-made, they just put the flange on, they dig around it. It's a lot less labor, so I think you'll save on the material, and you'll pay for it in the labor. But
Well, see what whatever. If there's only a couple $100, it ain't worth the effort, probably only be that, maybe it won't even, so.
yeah.
That it, Brandon?
Yeah, I already mentioned that at the wastewater fund, our last discharges, that's $1.1 million, so that worked really good. I haven't seen what that stuff is costing, because I filled that tank like 3 times. And I don't know how much that costs, but
It's not cheap.
it's very expensive.
It's very expensive, yeah. It's
like $3,000 a bill or
3 to 5,
Yeah, that's about what I expected.
How much?
about 3 to 5,000 every time we fill it.
Really?
better than fines.
Yeah, 100-gallon total ferric is about $1,100, and 3 totes to fill that, so
Mhm.
3,500.
And it's filled about what, 4 times a year, 3 times a year?
3 last year.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
Oh, you got about $10,000, $11,000 worth of expense there.
Yep.
Okay,
that's it for me.
all right, Personnel Committee. Policy updates, HSA contributions,
I'll ask to table that till next month, if that's okay.
all right. Clerk treasurer update,
So we've had a couple past due utility bills, that I did send out disconnect notices. Those went unanswered. However, it is winter now. So I don't know if council wants to just kind of keep an eye on them, and then we'll do the disconnects if needed in April or whatever. Right now we're down to 1. There were 2. We have 1 now.
Thank you.
just have to keep an eye on, because you can't shut it off now, right?
Well, we could, but I don't think it's a wise idea.
No,
Eli and I kind of talked about it, and yeah, it's just not. We could end up with a lot of other issues if we did,
yeah,
so,
all right,
and then I was working on. Trying to get some quotes for fiber internet. The fire department has requested that we relook at the internet for them, because they're having a hard time with some trainings. So I'm looking into that. I did get some quotes, but I want to try to get it through the consortium. Is that what it's called?
Idiom?
The purchase co-op, whatever it is, yeah. With contracts, that a lot of times you can get it cheaper potentially. We still had 2 problem properties, that I sent, so we had agreed last fall, and I sent them to the attorney. He did send one last ditch effort letter to the residents. Nothing has happened on those 2, and so I told him to continue to proceed with that. Mileage rates increased 2.5% or 2.5 cents per mile. They increased, so I think it's like 73.5 cents a mile. 72.5 cents, something like that.
fuel and gas went down, why would they be going up?
That's what it is.
Federal thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, mileage reimbursement, yep. W-2s were done, all the year-end stuff has been done. I am waiting for Burkhart, which is now Carlson SV. because they joined with them. I'm waiting for them to give me the list of the audit information that they need, because they'll be coming out here in the next couple weeks to pick up the samples that they've requested.
Will be the same people coming though?
Yes, yeah, we still have our same auditor, we still have Greg, we still have Luke, and I can't remember the other guy. But they just joined with Carlson SV. And I think that's all I have. The paid leave has been set up in Banyan. And it's working correctly, because it's been coming out of my check, so
Alrighty, that it?
that's all I have.
Unfinished business, do we have any? Move on to new business. Now we're only gonna have one resolution here
We'll
with
have two.
two.
The first one is just the one that the auditors requested we do every year. With the automatic ACH payments that we do. For the resolution 2026 deal.
We have to do them individually or can we do them?
Do both. The other one is setting the limit that I can pay in between meetings. At $7,500 up to.
Right.
Somebody want to make a motion then to approve resolution 2026-01 and 2026-02.
Motion to approve.
Someone a second?
Or a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, council committees that we do every first.
Yep, these are the ones that were done last year that you have in your packets, so. Whatever changes you want to make.
Everybody happy with doing what they're doing?
Yep.
Want to change it or any changes? If not? Keep as is?
Do we need a motion on that one?
So we need a motion to approve the
2026 council committees?
different committees and the official newspaper is still the Maple River Messenger. The official bank is still the Post or the US Bank.
Right.
And then the posting place is City Hall, the post office and the Red Iron Mercantile.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 committee list and official bank paper and posting places.
John made motion, someone to second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? I oppose, motion carried. Miscellaneous business, selling sand or red rock to residents for icy driveways.
I had a couple residents ask if they could purchase the sand or red rock for their driveways. We said no. I just thought I'd put it out there so that at least residents know that I did bring it to council. We really can't sell the sand because we get it from Blue Earth County.
The sand's Blue Earth County sand and it has salt in it, so I don't know.
Okay.
If they want them.
How about the red rock?
We could sell the red rock. They could also buy red rock.
Yards.
Yeah.
Menards.
But then it's just more that Eli has to go around and try to deliver if they want it, or how are you gonna sell it? Some of them wanted like a 5-gallon bucket.
Well, that's what I was just gonna.
Yeah.
You know, so.
If somebody wants a 5-gallon bucket and we want to put that on the fee schedule, I guess we could do that, but we weren't really sure how to proceed with it.
I guess, how many people are gonna go get a 5-gallon bucket, 5 or 3 or?
Well, we had one resident that was concerned and wanted to put it on the street. And I'm like, let us take care of that for you.
We had that one guy that filled in his whole yard and did his landscaping with the rock from the pond in his van with 5-gallon pails. So you don't want to open that door a crack. 'Cause
Well, that's, yeah. So
Good night.
I put it on the agenda and we discussed it, so.
All right. One hand in the suit.
Definitely know the feeling.
Anything else under miscellaneous
By due diligence.
business at all then? If not, let me make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
I oppose, motion carried. Thanks, everybody.